This is the new 2021 Mercedes-Benz GLA 250, the entry-level affordable Mercedes SUV. Except this one costs almost $56,000, and in this video, we're going to figure out why. How can this, the smallest Mercedes-Benz SUV, cost nearly $56,000? We're going to find out with something called the Features Quiz, a throwback to Moto Man's options game. Now, the Mercedes GLA 250 in front-wheel drive starts at just $36,230. Add all-wheel drive, that brings the price up to $38,230. Now, this car has a $720 option for Cosmos Black Metallic paint. And then we come to the sports steering wheel. That's a $360 option. The 20-inch AMG multi-spoke wheels, that's a $750 option. The heated and ventilated front seats, $950. The panoramic sunroof, $1,500. Heads-up display, $1,100. Sirius XM radio is $460. Adjustable second row of seats, $360. The Burmeister sound system, $850. Then we come to the wireless charging tray. That is $200. The ambient lighting is $310. And then, of course, the USB-C adapter cable, $25. And that's before we get to the really expensive stuff. There is a driver assistance package on here with the Distronic adaptive cruise control. That's $1,700. We come to the parking assistance package, which is self-park. That's another $1,100. Exterior lighting package with the active LEDs is $900. The multimedia package with the MBUX is $1,295. The AMG line exterior design, $2,200. And then lastly, the premium package with the dual 10.25-inch displays, $1,750. While the GLA 250 will start in the mid-30s, it's quite easy to get these into the mid-50s really quickly. The design of the 2021 Mercedes GLA is much improved over the outgoing model. It's just much more sophisticated, much more refined, and much more grown up, and I love these new headlights, especially these LEDs. You've got this really cool light pattern that extends around the entire length of the headlight. You can see it also acts as a turn signal, and then there are 3 main LED pods on the inside. The rear of the GLA is also much improved. I do like the spoiler up top. We've got these nice LED taillights down here, a chrome kick panel, and then these exhausts and rear diffuser. Now, these exhausts, they look real from a distance, but they are actually entirely fake. It really is just another phone cubby, if we're being honest. Okay, maybe a poor phone cubby. The real exhausts exit underneath. When you open up the door of the GLA, you're greeted with a really cool interior on this trim. It's actually called Neva Gray and Black, and it's not actually leather. It's a material called MB-Tex. Mercedes has been using this since like the 1960s, but it is super durable and lasts a really long time. Plus, it's nice and smooth, just like leather. Now, the door panel on this GLA is pretty similar to other Mercedes models. So we've got our power seat adjustments up here. We also have ventilated seats and heated seat controls, but I really like these chrome accents. So I like this big, meaty grab handle here on the door, and of course, the bright door handle. The overall interior of the new GLA shares a lot in common with the new Mercedes design language and a lot in common with its slightly bigger brother, the GLB. Now, I really do like what Mercedes has done with this interior. I really like these circular vents that extend across the dashboard and along the side, and the main kind of focal point are these 2 large 10.25-inch displays. Now, the voice prompts in this Mercedes GLA, and actually most Mercedes products, are probably the best in the whole industry, and you can do stuff like adjust vehicle settings without ever taking your hands off the steering wheel. Take a look. Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Adjust the driver's side temperature to 64 degrees.
I'm setting the temperature on the driver's side to 64 degrees.
Now, you can of course change the radio station and do all the actual functionality of the vehicle all through your voice, but you can actually do a lot more than that. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
What's the square root of 6?
2.44949.
So it's pretty good at math, and actually you can go much more advanced, like, hey Mercedes. Hey Mercedes. Alright, so she's being a little bit fussy, but she does know a lot of things, like, hey Mercedes. Hey Mercedes, who is the president of Ghana? Who is the president of Ghana?
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Who is the president of Ghana?
The president of Ghana is John Dramani Mahama.
Okay, so it does work. I promise you, it does some really cool things. It's just very fussy. Now, when you're done yelling at your car and you actually want to dive into the infotainment, the big 10.25-inch screen is easy to use. So, of course, you've got handy pages like navigation, phone. Of course, you can adjust your radio, but there's a lot more functionality built in, such as the comfort page, which will allow me to use something called Seat Kinetics, and this system will continually adjust my seat for the proper driving position as it sees fit to keep me nice and comfortable. There are some seriously over-engineered cup holders here in the center of the GLA. Now, they look fairly standard, ready to accept your water bottle, but take a look at this. If I push this button with the right arrow, bam! I've got the little divider that shoots out, so now I can put awkward sized bottles, maybe like those little small Cokes or Pepsis, so they don't go rolling around. And when I'm done with these small bottles, I simply push them in and they click back into place. One of the coolest functions of the GLA 250 are the various drive themes incorporated throughout the vehicle. So if I scroll down here on the home page, you'll notice we've got a number of different pages, from adventure to trip to experience, efficiency, lounge, and standard. And these will actually configure the vehicle for various different types of driving. So for example, trip is kind of my standard run around. It's got my navigation there in the center, and then fairly normal gauges here in the gauge cluster. So here on the left, I've got a speedometer, and then this screen on the right will show me my adaptive cruise control, because it assumes I'm going on a road trip. But take a look at this. If I go into experience, this is now going to be the sport displays. So it's going to show me my engine performance, giving me torque and horsepower. And then here in the center, it's actually going to show me my speed as well as a tachometer. So I know what the revs are going to look like. That's pretty cool, but it goes beyond that, because take a look at this one. There is an adventure page. This is kind of for off-road terrain. That displays my 360-degree camera and my various other camera views, so I can see where the rocks are, but it'll also show me a four-wheel drive or 4MATIC page, and that displays where the power is going to each wheel, and then even an inclinometer, which will show me my tilt and then my lateral movement. And then my favorite page of all, let me go back home, is the lounge page. And this one sets up my music. It turns the gauges into just some nice calming circles, which are supposed to kind of represent art. Just a way for you to settle down. If you don't want to get fingerprints everywhere on the interior of your Mercedes, you can use this little touchpad here, which will control the center display. And actually, if I'm being honest, there are a lot of places where it's super easy to get fingerprints all over, because there's just a huge amount of piano black in here. But this little touch pad is actually pretty useful and much easier to use in Lexus systems, and they give you this. Which has no real, purpose within the Mercedes other than a nice place to rest your palm, so your fingers can caress the touchpad to control the MBUX. This is the wireless charger in the Mercedes GLA. It's not really all that unusual, pretty easy to get to, and it will accept the larger iPhones. But one thing I do find extremely unusual about this setup is this little lever, which folds out from the back of the wireless charger. And the only thing I can think this lever is for is to prevent your phone from flying out if you're driving your GLA in a sporty manner, or maybe jumping speed bumps. I've never seen any other car incorporate this little holder, but it's nice that it's there. Now here in the center of the Mercedes GLA, you've got a fold-out center armrest, pretty deep, and this is that $25 USB-C to USB adapter that was on the Monroney. And my videographer Alex tells me that these are $30 at Apple if you want to convert a USB-C to a standard USB, so maybe you should buy them through Mercedes instead, because it's a pretty good deal, I guess. Now the light control is actually a little bit unusual in the GLA, especially for the US market. Now of course you have lights on, auto function, and then of course running lamps. But one thing that's a little bit unusual for America are the parking lamps. So I have these two settings over here, and I can turn on just the left hand portion of the light controls, or just the right hand portion of the lights. And the idea of this is, if you're parked at night, for example on the right side of the road, you would turn on your left parking lamps and let other motorists know that you're parked there. Do not hit me. This is very common in Europe, but not all that common here in the States. Now the rear seat in the GLA is one place this 2021 model really shines, because this is my driving position at 6'1" tall. huge amounts of legroom and actually really good headroom. This is one area that the old GLA really struggled in. So the rear seat is much better on this new one. I will say there is a massive hump here in the center. That's a little bit disappointing, but of course this one does have the adjustable rear seats, so I can scoot them forward and back a few inches as well. One thing that is kind of interesting is this big fold-out panel. Are you ready? It's like something out of the Enterprise. And then this has not only a 115 volt 2-prong outlet, but USB-C's tucked in here as well. So overall, the backseat in GLA is super usable. Fold out center armrest with hyper over-engineered cup holders. Look at that. That is like that is crazy. Why did that, why can't they just, okay. This GLA does have a power liftgate. I can open it with the key, or I can use a little pad underneath the Mercedes logo. It actually opens pretty quickly, and the trunk space is very generous. The seats do fold flat, and I do have a little netting here on the side, power outlets, and even just a little bit of under tray storage. This is where you're going to find your tire inflation kit, your subwoofer, and then this is a little place with just some odds and ends, like this one has the license plate bracket in it. There is one interesting feature on this new Mercedes. Where is the backup camera? I don't see it up here by the logo. This clearly doesn't move. I don't see it down here by the bumper. It's actually hidden and pops out only when you need it. Take a look. This GLA is a 250, which means underneath the hood you're going to find a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, 221 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and this engine, believe it or not, is mated to an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic. It's available in both front and all-wheel drive. So there you have it, the new Mercedes-Benz entry-level crossover. I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with the overall design. I can't tell you how it drives, unfortunately, because driving impressions are embargoed until about the middle of August, but the interior comfort is definitely there, the material qualities is there, and the technology is definitely pretty close to top-notch. If only MBUX would work just a little bit more reliably. But as always, this is Tommy with the Fastlane Car. Let me know in the comment section below, do you think this model behind me is worth almost $56,000? And check out TFLcar.com for the latest and greatest in new car reviews.